We hear the whine of our next pilot. That's Greg Collier. His call sign is Wired. And listen to the sound of this compared to that of the Mustang. The aircraft taking off right now is the Lockheed T-33 Shooting Star. The first production aircraft powered by jet propulsion was the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star. It went into production and fought in the Korean conflict from 1950 to 1953. With its straight wing, it could still reach nearly 600 miles per hour top speed. The founder and owner of Ace Maker Aviation is Greg Collier. He's a native Californian. He took his first flight at age 7 in a Cessna 172. And he's been flying for over 4 decades after earning his license in 1982 while he served in the U.S. Army. After leaving the service, he worked keeping our skies safe for 27 years with the FAA as an air traffic controller in the Oakland Air Route Traffic Control Center. And he got a ride in a T-33 and he was forever hooked. It was one of his favorite aircraft when he was a kid. And in 2007, he got a ride with his friend Kay Eckert in one of Kay's T-33s. And in 2008, he bought his first T-33. Here it is. With over 5,000 hours total time and 2,000 in the T-33, Greg is the highest time current T-33 pilot in the world. He's flown a number of other jets as well. But the T-33 was an aircraft that was necessary to be put into operation, because in the early days of jet aircraft, the pilots who were transitioning to the P-80 Shooting Star, the same airplane basically with a single seat, were having a very, very high accident rate. And as a matter of fact, it actually took the life of World War II's leading ace, Lieutenant Richard Bong, as the T-33 climbed skyward out in front of us with a quarter clover loop. And so the folks at Lockheed got together with the Air Force and they stretched the cockpit, the fuselage, put a second cockpit in, and began producing this 2-seat trainer. In all, some 6,700 of these airplanes were built. And still, as of about 10 years ago, a couple were still in service with the Bolivian Air Force. They were also manufactured in Canada and also in Japan. It was 1948 that the first 2-seat version was built. powered by an Allison J33 turbojet engine. It generated 5,400 pounds of thrust, giving the T-33 that 599 mile per hour top speed, which remains a speed record for a single engine straight wing jet powered aircraft. When it went, the single seat P-80, later called the F-80 Shooting Star, went into combat in the Korean conflict, it was quickly outclassed by the swept-wing MiG-15 aircraft, forcing the United States Air Force to rush into operation an aircraft built by North American called the F-86 Saberjet. But this is the Shooting Star. Greg Wired Collier. Greg is the air show hero. In addition to flying air shows, Greg instructs at Edwards Air Force Base at the Test Pilot School and also works with the United States Navy at Naval Air Station Patuxent River, Maryland. And he also flies Boeing 737s for Kaiser Air. Landing gear down, aerodynamically dirty. Amazing aircraft. And there are two others that fly at different air shows with Greg. He owns 3 of them. His other pilots are Robert Scratch Mitchell, who used to fly with the Canadian Forces Snowbirds. Greg Collier has another pass or two before he brings it into land. But landing will be interesting to watch. Low and to the right. Stops it. 90 degrees at a time for the 4-point hesitation roll. Just got the word from Greg Collier that he's going to bring it into land. When he lands, I want you to watch, because there are different ways of landing these high-performance aircraft and slowing them down. And some of the highest performance early jets of the Century series is what they are called, like the F-100 Super Sabre and the F-101 Voodoo, the F-102 Delta Dart, the F-104 Starfighter, the F-105 Thunder Chief. Those aircraft would use drogue chutes to help slow them down. Because the tires were small, it'd burn up the brakes if they had to get on the brakes all the time. Maybe blow a tire, could be unsafe. But let's watch as Greg Collier approaches from the right and touches down. He has a unique way of doing it. Not by keeping the nose wheel off the ground and using what is called aerodynamic or aero braking, which we will see done by the F-35 Lightning II later when Kristen Bayo Wolf lands. But let's watch as Greg Collier touches down here on runway 18 at Tinker Air Force Base. Keep your eyes on the canopy, because he will literally open that canopy up just a little bit and use the entire canopy as an air brake to help him slow down. Take it easy on the brakes. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Greg Collier. We were just having fun up here on the Airbus stand because George Klein's the guy who told me all about it. But we are going to keep the entertainment continued here at Tinker Air Force Base. Well, that's Matt Youngkin. He's a third-generation pilot. His granddad, Jim, his dad, Bobby, and now Matt, flying this 1943 Beechcraft AT-11 Kansan. It also was known as the C-45 Expediter. And it's powered by two Pratt & Whitney R985 radial piston engines that generate 450 pounds of thrust each. Let's listen to this great sound. The airplane was never designed to fly upside down, but Matt Youngkin is very gentle on the controls and never exceeds the 3G limit that is required of standard category aircraft. Now, as we see Matt come through upside down and rolling in from the right, let's watch the artistry and listen to the sound of Miss Ellie with Matt Youngkin in the Twin Beach. That is superb flying, ladies and gentlemen of Oklahoma City. Put your hands together for Matt Youngkin. The Twin Beach, as it is commonly known, is about to come by from the left and do a photo pass. You might want to set up your cameras, hold them sideways as Matt Youngkin brings this very unique aircraft that he nicknamed Miss Ellie from the left for the photo pass. Music out, and here's the sound of the motor. The aircraft was used not only as a light cargo and liaison aircraft, but it was also used as a bombardier trainer, a navigator trainer, and a gunnery trainer. Now, if you look carefully, you'll see the wheels got extended as he went over the top. What's going to happen next is that Matt Youngkin is going to get this airplane dirtied up with the gear down, causing a lot of drag and turbulence inside the wheel wells, and he's going to put it in what we call the baby elephant waltz. Take a listen. Watch him as he exceeds 90 degrees of bank. Any lesser pilot would have this airplane fallen out of the sky, but not Matt Youngkin.
Probably one of the most unusual acts you'll see. That plane was actually never designed for aerobatic flight, and there it was. But right now, delighted to be joined by Colonel Brian Moore, the new commander of the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing great. It is so great to be back in Oklahoma. So we were here a couple times before, and in fact, my wife was reminding me, Barb, she was reminding me that one of the last things we did was come to the 2019 air show.
Wow.
And being able to come back and see how Oklahoma supports Tinker Air Force Base is fantastic. What a welcoming community, and we were so excited to be back. Thank you.
Well, you just took command last week from General King, and so what's this first few days going like? Hey, welcome to the seat, sir. By the way, there's this big event happening this weekend.
Yeah, perfect timing. And by the way, General King, phenomenal leader in our Air Force, and he made that transition so smooth. But I'll tell you what, the workforce here at Tinker Air Force Base, and specifically the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex, is second to none. I mean, with what we do, and you're getting to see that in STEM Takes Flight in this air show, you're getting to see a lot of what they actually produce in maintenance, repair, and overhaul, and being able to keep this type of aircraft flying, year after year, and bring in new aircraft. I mean, so the theme of this air show is past, present, and future, and you're getting to see it here. It's awesome to be back and get reinvigorated with the team. So.
Yeah, and so there have been aircraft that have already flown and will be taking to the skies that the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex supports, like the KC-135, the C-17, and many more. But as everyone is out here watching, what are some takeaways that they should go away with?
Yeah, I think, McKenna, the big takeaway is that this base has been here for 80-plus years. And it started World War II, and it delivered combat air power, right? And And that's exactly what we're doing 80 years later. When it started with the B-17 and B-24 and B-29s, and here we are today working aircraft like the B-52, the B-1, the KC-135, as you said. This is about projecting combat air power for when our nation needs it to defend our interests, right, and secure our nation's defense. And it takes a whole community like Oklahoma City, awesome community and support, to do this like you see today. The past, present, and future couldn't do it without Oklahoma and the community. You know, the partnerships with industry and the academic partnerships. And then, of course, all the mission partners around base. It is a joint effort. It's an Oklahoma joint effort. And Tinker Air Force Base and the complex is just excited to be a part of this, and this demonstration really capturing that.
Yeah, and Secretary Kendall has his operational imperatives, and we talk about, you know, how the mission here, not just at this air logistics complex, but across the Air Force Sustainment Center, really fits in to strategic competition in today's environment. Can you kind of talk about how important logistics is and all the modernization that is happening and how that kind of helps the Air Force fly, fight, and win?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So I'll tell you that all fights depend on sustainment, right, and logistics. And we're in a strategic competition with our adversaries, right? Let's not make any mistake about it. And if deterrence fails, we'll be ready because of Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma and the way they support it for any kind of adverse action that we have to be ready for, right? That's the strategic imperative, right? The operational piece. You know, the Air Force fights depend on sustainment, and sustainment depends on Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex. So,
yeah, and so the purpose of an air show, you know, of course, inspire and entertain, but the primary focus is to bring the community on and let them have a look at what is actually happening here. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but can you speak to just the importance of community support and partnerships here?
Thanks for that. So I'm gonna quick say to all our young people out there, we need everybody to take interest. I hope that if some young lady or man out there is thinking about what they want to do with their academic career and then beyond, I hope they'll take interest. The theme of this air show, STEM Takes Flight. We need science, technology, engineering, math, amongst many other professions. We need career, vocational type, sheet metal mechanics and maintenance like me, folks that can produce. We need all that. And so if this, is interesting to you, air power and the aerospace industry, take a look at it, learn more about it. And then what that means is there's the whole aerospace industry in Oklahoma is just growing, right? So there's partnerships with the community, as you mentioned, whether it's industry partnerships between the base, right? So our Air Force working with industry partners to be able to produce the combat power that you're talking about. It takes a whole team, and it starts back, K through 12, college, and it ends with getting you in the Air Force and retaining you as our workforce. They're needed. We need to get them in, and we need to keep them because we got to be able to produce for the next fight should it come.
And I know there's 10,000 total force airmen, to include civilians that work for your team. And we've talked about the military side, but you also have a need in the civilian workforce, a lot of opportunities for people to maybe be employed here at Tinker Air Force Base.
Absolutely. We have so many career fields. I was looking back as I was coming in here, back to Tinker for the third time. I was looking at the history of the complex, and I looked at the World War II piece, and did you know there was 13,000 back then, and 50% of them were female? So think Rosie the Riveter, right? I mean, and there's as much opportunity for everybody. We need them all. So 10,000 people doing a diverse set of skills, right? Folks might just think, well, it's just maintenance, but I'm telling you, we need engineers, we need information computer scientists, we need, if accounting is your thing, we need it all. So take a look, and then this is the mission that you're supporting, right? Air power, generating that combat power. So it's awesome to be a part of it and a great workforce.
So last question, I mean, we're at an air show, so I feel obligated to ask, like, what is your favorite aircraft, if you have one, or if not, what are you most looking forward to seeing today?
Yeah, so my favorite aircraft are all the aircraft right here in the depot. I'm going to go with that because I got a whole team.
Fair enough.
And we service a lot of aircraft here. Now, there are some future aircraft that are coming that are pretty high-tech, pretty awesome. I mean, so if you haven't got out and looked on the ramp and seen the F-35 and some other things, and we're going to see the Blue Angels later, it's going to be awesome. I've got some great aircraft within the depot that I like too, so...
Air power guy right here.
Air power, that's it. Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Well, sir, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for what you and your team does for the nation and for Tinker and the Oklahoma community as well.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks to Oklahoma community and the workforce right here at the Oklahoma City Air Logistics Complex.
All right, that was Colonel Brian Moore, and we are now going to send it right back out to the air show narrator, Rob Ryder.
This airplane weighs in at a staggering 900 pounds. And what you are seeing now is a demonstration of some of the best stick and rudder flying anywhere in the world. He is one of the best, having won those great awards in our air show industry. The airplane goes back to 1943, and he's sponsored by the Jelly Belly Candy Company of Fairfield, California. The Galitz family started in 1896, and they continue to make great candies. Watch him as he goes over the top, doing a loop and only a few hundred feet above the ground. This takes incredible skill, and you ain't seen nothing yet. That's the hammerhead stall turnaround, turns it on a dime, gives you 9 cents change. Knife edge flight across the line. Now, if you look way down to the right, Kent is getting ready to set up to attempt a landing on the Jelly Belly truck that we saw earlier drive down. Let's listen here. He'll call for the truck. Okay, he just said go 60 miles an hour for Nick, who is driving the truck. What we're going to see right now, ladies and gentlemen, is an attempt to land that Interstate Cadet on the top of that moving truck at 60 miles an hour. Now, he's got some squirrely winds. You can see him. He's got to be very careful. He's trying to put the wheels down on the deck and slide them up into a couple of troughs in the front. Ooh, he's got it on one wheel, but he's got to get it farther forward, so he's not there yet. He's got plenty of runway here at Tinker, but nope, well, he's going to try to get it down there once. The wind is a little bit squirrely coming out of the west, and he's got to be careful of crosswinds because. All right, tell you what, Kent, it looks like you got some crosswind issues. All right, we'll be looking for it. We're pulling for you, bud. Okay. All right, now we're going to get lined up. Okay, he's going to get him turned around, and they're going to come from the left and head up to the north on this next pass. The problem with the crosswind is that if that crosswind, which is getting stronger over the last couple of minutes actually, if it, in this case on the pass when they're going to the north, if that wind gets under the upwind or the left wing, it can toss it up in the air and literally throw the airplane into the ground. So he's got to be very careful. He comes alongside. He just gave the go, 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 and he's going to line up, match the speed flying alongside it. You see him kick the rudder there as he crabs into the wind. He's really fighting a serious crosswind here. So let's see if he can do it. There is no guarantee on this. He's trying to get the wheels into these troughs on the front of the deck of the Jelly Belly truck. He's only got 8 inches of clearance left or right. Okay, he's got it on. Now he's going to work his way forward. He's got to put the throttle to it, and he's going to work the rudders to try to get forward. I don't know if he's got the time on this pass to get him up in there, but it looks like he's got got things figured out. Let's try one more time, see what he says. Kent, you're getting closer on that. You think you're going to make it on this try? Okay, stand by. Stand by. We're going to find 260 at 1-2 from George in the tower. Yeah, it is. Go for it, sir. George, he just said good, thanks for nothing. 12 knots. That's about 14 and a half miles per hour as we drive our cars. The truck is on the roll. Will be in just a moment. Truck's on the roll. Let's see if he can do it. This is incredibly challenging flying in a crosswind. It's incredibly challenging flying even if the wind's coming straight down the runway to land on a postage stamp sized target, if you will, as he gets those wheels down. Watch for the rudder back and forth, and he'll sort of wheel it. He looks stable. See if he can get him. Watch for the wheels to drop in the trough. See if it works. There's one wheel in. He locked the left one. He got it, ladies and gentlemen. Kent Peach. Whoa! That was amazing. Holy cow, he really pulled it off. Kent, that was amazing, my friend. Well, we'll have to do it. In the meantime, can I play another song for you? We're going to do it. This is for you, Kent Peach. Kent Peach was born free as the Interstate Cadet from Jelly Belly Candy Company comes by back from the left. All right, Kent, you get ready to take off, right? He'll get it up to flying speed. They'll disconnect the locks on the wheels. Tail comes up, gets to about 45 miles an hour, and there's the takeoff. We loved it, sir. You look like you're born free. We work it. Ladies, you're waving goodbye to everybody. Thank you, Kent Peach. Ladies and gentlemen, make some big noise for Kent Peach so he can hear you in the cockpit. That's for you, Kent. The Jelly Belly Interstate Cadet. And Kent Peach has been cleared to land. He's got one more flight today that you'll be able to see, so we won't want to miss that at all. Kent Peach will be with us in just a few minutes. This year, our VIP chalet is presented by Devon Energy, Sam's Club, Anheuser-Busch, and U.S. Foods. It takes a mighty team of all of our sponsors, guests, and distinguished visitors. Hey, if you're thirsty, this year's air show is sponsored in part by Sam's, who has donated over 36,000 bottles of water for all of the augmentees, security forces, and hard-working people who are behind the scenes during this hot summer air show time. Cavender's Family Auto Group is the official auto dealership for the Tinker Air Show, and most of our pilots are jetting around town in a Cavender's car. We want to thank some great restaurants who have supported the volunteers and teams on base today. Tacos for Life, Santa Fe Cattle Company, Swadley's Barbecue, CR Head Country Barbecue Sauce, Casey's General Store Pizza, Schwab's Hot Dogs and Brats, Homeland and Sara Lee Bread, Bar S Meats, Sam Stores, Reed Convention Center, Anheuser-Busch, Milo's Iced Tea Lemonade, and Easy Ice. And thanks to U.S. Foods, who is out here supporting all of our food needs and providing us with refrigerated trucks. U.S. Foods can be your major source in the kitchen, at home, and at your next special event. Also, our official tent company, Conventions, and more. They can make your event a dream come true. For all your rental needs, call Conventions and More. Still to come, Team Tinker. Jeff Shetterly will be back for his full demonstration in the AT-6 Texan. Then we've got the United States Air Force's F-35 Lightning II demonstration, piloted by Major Kristen Beowulf and the Heritage Flight.
Carriers, the Disobedient carriers, the Disobedient from their 30 caliber machine guns. However, they quickly ran out, but luckily they were able to land at Wheeler Field, which is near the center of the island. They refueled and reloaded with 30 and 50 caliber ammo and took off once again to fight the Japanese. These two pilots are credited with downing a total of 6 Japanese warplanes before their own planes were disabled. Both pilots received a Distinguished Service Cross for their actions that infamous day. A total of 500 on the ground at the beginning of the attack. Sadly, 188 were totally destroyed. 155 aircraft lay on the ground in various stages of disrepair. The first wave of 189 Japanese Zeros, Vals, and Kates hammered Hawaii for almost an hour. Then came the second wave of an additional 171 aircraft to continue the strafing, bombing, and dropping of torpedoes for yet another 70 minutes. Yes, that's a total of 360 enemy warplanes. As the attack proceeded at Pearl Harbor and Hickam, the devastation was horrifying. On the eastern edge of Ford Island in the center of the harbor, 9 battleships lay at berth. The California, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Tennessee, Maryland, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Utah, and Arizona. Luckily at the time, our 3 Pacific aircraft carriers were out at sea. First, the Japanese hit with Kate torpedo bombers. The initial wave of Kates hit 5 of our battleships, the Oklahoma, Nevada, West Virginia, and the Utah. These Kates were specially equipped with shallow-running torpedoes specifically designed for the attack on Pearl Harbor. You see, the shallow waters at Pearl Harbor would not allow the use of normal deep-running torpedoes, which leaves no question that this was a thought-out plan and not a surprise attack. Then came the Bell dive bombers, armed with 1,700 pounds of armor-busting projectiles, originally made for 16-inch battleship guns, but were converted to aerial bombs. These planes dived down onto the Nevada and the Arizona. Anti-aircraft gear devours away from the Nevada on the first wave, but unfortunately, the Arizona was not that lucky. A bomb stabbed the Arizona through her forward magazines and exploded, torching off more than 1 million pounds of gunpowder. Sailors on the Nevada watched in horror as the Arizona jumped 20 feet in the air and broke in two. 478 American servicemen in an underwater tomb. The ship sank in less than 3 minutes, and still today she remains at the bottom of the harbor in a watery grave, crying black tears as a reminder to all who lost their lives that infamous day. Marine Corps Air Station Ewell, PFC Jonathan Thomas was on guard duty when 9 Zeros attacked the base. He stepped out of his shack, drew his .45 caliber pistol, and began firing at the enemy airplanes. A Japanese pilot, Yoshio Shiga, saw Thompson firing back at them, and years later, he remembered Thompson's tenacity and fighting spirit, describing the lone Marine as the bravest American I've ever seen. All over the island, soldiers were bringing their weapons to bear and fight, anything they could get working, their .45 caliber pistols or their Springfield rifles. And in some cases, our soldiers were able to get 30 and 50 caliber belt-fed machine guns into action, bringing down numerous marauding Japanese Zeros, Vals, and Kates. Look out there. Just think about that. Just think about being there. Look how much smoke. Hear those engines. See the bombs. Meanwhile, at Bellows Airfield on the northeastern coast of the island, more U.S. Army pilots were racing for their P-40s. Unfortunately, Japanese Zeros appeared at the same time and started strafing runs. One P-40 pilot was killed as he stepped into his cockpit. 2 other P-40s were shot down just as they got off the ground. The flight of 12 B-17s coming from the mainland finally arrived and were immediately attacked by Zeros. Unfortunately, in all the confusions, the B-17s were shot at by friend and foe. The flight and crew members landed wherever they could. One of them in a pineapple field not far from Hickenfield. B-17 pilot Major Landon, trying to land, said, "What a hell of a way to enter war. Out of glass, unarmed, and no place to land." Amazingly though, 8 of those 7 B-17s actually made it to Hickenfield. At the conclusion of the surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, more than half of America's entire naval fleet had been destroyed or damaged. Nearly 2,400 Americans were killed, over 1,200 wounded, and at the time, 960 people were missing. 188 aircraft were destroyed, 159 damaged, just 155 aircraft lay on the ground. 2 battleships were destroyed, 3 light cruisers, 3 destroyers, and a total of 6 battleships. Our greatest naval base lay in ruins, along with our complacency. The following day, December 8, 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt announced our entry into World War II with these words to Congress, the citizens of the United States, and the world.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. It will be recorded that the distance of Hawaii from Japan makes it obvious that the attack was deliberately planned many days or even weeks ago. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
Admiral Yamamoto, the mastermind of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, said, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with terrible resolve." Well, he was right. In the 44 months of fighting that followed, the United States sank every one of the Japanese aircraft carriers, battleships, and cruisers that were part of the Pearl Harbor Task Force. Would you please bow your head in a moment of silence in memory of all of those that lost their lives that infamous day? Thank you. are going to go on out and form back up here so they can come in and give us a photo pass. So you're going to want to get your cameras ready again. All right, and from your left here, we have our tour lead, Doug Durr from the Woodlands, Texas. He's in our 0115. Followed by second generation pilot, Patrick Hutchins of Bayou Vista, Texas. Next we have Ron Wright of Huntsville, Texas. Here we have Dan Reedy and Chad Thurman from Pearland, Texas. Mark Anderson from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Here comes our K-Torpedo Bomber 313 with Daniel Rasmussen and Joe Gamesfelder from Midland, Texas. Incoming here is Mike Hastings and Trevor Henson from Oklahoma City. Followed by 310, Lance Summers and Miles Turner from Midland, Texas. Here's our American P-36 Warhawk with Chris Walker and our Hawk 18. If you saw our P-40 land, that was flown by Taylor Stevenson. Also want to note that in 1965, his grandfather, Edwin Schmidt, was actually the base commander here at Tinker Air Force Base. Yes, it runs in the family. These air shows are all about our American military forces. It's an opportunity to highlight Tinker Air Force Base, as well as a chance to show off the community relations that are so vital and important for continued success. But more than anything, it's a chance to give people a glimpse into the extraordinary capabilities of our people and equipment. TOR's purpose within this air show, with our little history lesson, is to show the evolution of where our military was to what you see here today. On December 7th, 1941, it was a pivotal moment in U.S. history. Europe had already been on fire for 2 years, and despite the best efforts of some incredibly smart people, we did not have the most professional and powerful military in the 1940s. For that lack of foresight, planning, and commitment, the sons and daughters of this nation paid a terrible price. We think that's worth remembering, and we hope you do too. TOR is a part of the Commemorative Air Force. All of our team members are volunteers, and we love what we do. We would like to encourage you to follow us on social media and visit our website, tora.com, for more information and our show schedule. Thank you, people of Tinker Air Force Base, for letting us perform for you today. Once again, I'm Denise Walker, the narrator of Tora, and we are Tora.
Thank you, Denise Walker. A big round of applause for Tora. The airplanes that are participating in this demonstration today, many of them were in the original 86 version of the blockbuster Tora, and they are converted aircraft that were advanced trainers like AT-6s, like Jeff Shetterly has flown, or BT-13s, which you will see shortly when we have our dedication to the Women's Air Service pilots, the WASP. the BT-13 being a basic trainer. They spent 20th Century Fox spent $20,000 per airplane to make them look like Japanese aircraft, but they are in fact all American airplanes that were highly modified, changing the canopies, changing the length of the fuselage, changing the undercarriage to look like Vals, Kates, and Zeros.